All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. And today we are going to talk about work frustration. But before we get into that, I know it's been a while since we dropped some content, and we are looking forward to just dive right into this topic. Again, my name is Phil.
My name is Terrence.
All right. And let's go ahead and dive straight into the topic. So, Terrence, I'll let you go ahead and kick it off.
All right.
Frustration today.
I believe last time we spoke, we were discussing a lot of things. I think we had just started dealing with COVID and a lot of things. And I just want to do a quick blueprint of where we're at. Today is currently June 25th of 2021. And I just want to say that we have came a long way. Me and Phil are both at different chapters of our life, good chapters. He's enjoying the summer. I've actually received a new job. It's been a blessing, definitely. I've been receiving a lot of support. There are some struggles that I deal with, but I think everybody deals with at their job in some type of way. So I definitely want to speak about frustration today. Sometimes we go in and we clock in, with the expectation that we're going to have a good day, and there's things that happen that are out of our control. But what I guess I want to troubleshoot is why does it beat us up so bad, number one, and number two, how do we defeat this? And I think Phil, you being in the profession that you're in, you can kind of speak on that. I'll let you cover your half first, and then we can go from there.
So, first, I'll address the first question you asked, which is, how do you beat it, right? As far as work frustration, I think the first step I usually take is realize this is part of the job. This is part of the work, and frustration is going to come out of several places: work processes, specific people. It could come from a certain situation that causes you to either feel like there's no immediate solution, which can lead to frustration. And so I think it's just acknowledging that it's okay to be frustrated, but then deciding what those next steps are going to be as far as how you're going to react to the frustration. So I would say what not to do: don't quit. Don't quit the job and just say, you know what, forget it. Don't take out your emotions on your coworkers who may be feeling the same level of frustration as you are, and try to approach the frustration reasonably and logically. So I would encourage that person that's being frustrated to be part of the solution. It's one of the steps you can take. Is there a way that you can solve the issue? If this issue is not able to be solved, then that can take time. Time requires patience. But be an agent of change, and turn that frustration into coming up with a solution that, for a process or dealing with a frustrating coworker. So those are just a few ways to deal with frustration. But I would just, again, highly suggest don't get over emotional. See if you could bring it up to a leader or superior or manager that has more experience in this area, and let them know, let he or she know, hey, I'm experiencing some frustration, and I would love to get your input, your thoughts on this situation. This could be in the form of an email. This could be in a one-on-one meeting. And I think those are some healthy ways to deal with frustration rather than the alternative of getting upset, getting emotional, taking out your emotions on coworkers, especially if the situation cannot be solved right then and there immediately. And always be patient on those outcomes. So that would be my whole take on that.
I guess my only, and I agree with all those things that you're saying, but my only thing is there's 1,000 jobs out here. Why continue to deal with this one? You see what I'm saying? Like for me, my opinion is yeah, because it's a steady income. But I guess on the inside, I feel like, one of the things that I battle with personally is like, okay, we already know it's not going to change overnight. So why do I want to go back? Why continue to deal with the same old issue when I could just apply to another job? So how do you think our listeners can defeat that thought process? Because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's just like, yo, like, what am I doing? Why am I even dealing with this?
And that's a good point. Why deal with the frustration when there are other jobs out there? Now, my response to that would be, okay, well, is that an appropriate response to the frustration? Because if the frustration is a result of just a tweak or something that can be changed, right? Then and out of then the next step would be, okay, I need to be patient about this change that needs to happen. So my question would be, are you giving the appropriate level of patience to the situation that's giving you frustration? And if you if you feel like the situation is getting progressively bad, it's getting progressively worse, then I have no problem with a person wanting to look for another job, another career option. But I do want to warn that person of the reality of just the nature of work. And I guess this takes wisdom and just meditating on the idea, and even consulting with other people, a mentor or someone who can give you some like really good advice, is that frustrations are going to come from every work situation is going to come with frustration, but you're going to tolerate frustration from different workplaces I guess you have to decide for yourself which job am I passionate about, that no matter what happens, no matter how frustrated I get, I'm still going to stick with it. And now we're getting into jobs versus career versus dream jobs. You see, if I can tell you doing this every day would be awesome. And one day, doing podcasting is what I mean. Having dialogue on these topics. I would love to do this full time and, have a revenue, have a salary from this, and it would be great. And the frustrations that come with podcasting and having this creative outlet, I feel like I would be able to manage and deal with, because I love the job and my heart's in it. And not that job frustration and marriage frustration are exactly similar, but I kind of look at, say, a couple who's married that love each other. Are they going to get frustrated with each other? Absolutely. But they both love each other so much that they see it as an opportunity to grow and a challenge to understand the person, a challenge to be compassionate in an area where they may not be compassionate, or that they learn more about their partner when there's friction. So when there's friction that's happening. And so frustration is, I feel like it's just a natural part of relationships, friendships, marriages, work. But I think we at the same time, we have the power to decide what we're going to tolerate, which frustrations we're going to tolerate, and what frustrations we're not going to tolerate.
Okay. I think that I agree with you there, which actually brings us to our next point. How do we dealing with a busy season? We all have busy seasons at our choices of employment. Sometimes it could be, just as an example, Prime Week. Sometimes it could be like a busy holiday at a restaurant, things like that. What do you think are just like, let's just do a quick 3 steps. Let's just keep it at 3 for our listeners. What are 3 good steps that will help with dealing with a busy season?
So one is just accepting that everyone's emotions are going to be at a different place, that we are in a busy season. Volume is going to be high, productivity is going to be high. I know working in a restaurant, when the dinner rush is happening, it's a Friday night or Saturday night, and there is an hour wait time for a table, and perhaps there's a concert or event that's happening across the street, which is bringing in more business. These are all great things, but people are, employees are trying to get orders to the table. Cooks are trying to push out dinners and try to get them expedited. You have dishwashers who are trying to, get the plates washed and clean, and so that the kitchen staff can get food plated. And so you have all these moving parts that have to work together, and it all includes people having to move quickly and efficiently And there really isn't a whole lot of time for, hey, let's all sit down and have a, and you know, let's talk about, there's really, there really isn't a whole lot of time to discuss minutia, small details. Just kind of have to, we have to figure it out. We have to execute and get it done. And so that our guests can get sat, and we can have an amazing service at the same time. So it's accepting that it's busy, but there is a goal at the end, and that we all need to work together. We all need to be participating in reaching that goal. And you can have a good attitude while doing these things. It doesn't have to be miserable. You can, having the right attitude, you can encourage people who you're working with when they mess up, or when there's a failure, or when there's a complaint, that we're not going to stop and try to make it a point about how incompetent employee is, but we're going to seek a solution, and we're going to do it with a positive attitude, because it is busy. And that's just the nature of it. And you have to, on paper, those busy dinner services, or say when you have a busy week in a warehouse or whatever you're working in, on paper, that higher volume is going to translate to people being able to put food on the table, staff being able to get paid, bonuses, and so on and so forth. So this is a good thing for business. And when we see that, when we look at it from that framework also, which is, I think, is good, is just good for a company to be transparent about, this is how much money we're making in revenue. And I think that those are all, seeing those numbers, I think that makes it real for employees. And I think that gives us the right motivation to do the work. But I think having a positive attitude and understanding that we all have the same goal, and we can still meet that goal and get to that desired destination without having to get over emotional, angry, yelling. All those things don't have to happen. So I think attitude is huge.
I'm glad that you brought up attitude, because one thing I definitely want to say is that it all reflects on how we go into the work situation. Just as an example, every day I wake up, I try to start out with some type of elevation music. If it's just one song, I like to give God at least a chance to basically bring his spirit into my life, whether it's for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I just want to, give God his time before I walk into, I'm not going to call it a danger zone, but just walk into a new unknown environment. I want to be, I want to be as positive as possible, because it's not just me there. You know what I mean? It's like there's people there that may be waiting for me to get there so they can have a good day. My energy may bounce off to another person and cause them to feel happy. So I want to at least have some type of good mind frame walking in, instead of walking in and saying, oh, here comes, here's work again. I don't ever want to walk into a negative. So I think just your mindset and just having a goal, like you said, is very important. And one, I think a good third thing is it's just being thankful to have a job. There's a lot of people out there that just aren't working. So, it's like, okay, you're gonna have a good mindset. You're gonna listen to some good music on the way, and we're just gonna be thankful. And I think that brings us to our third subject. So our third subject is actually dealing with unmotivated managers and staff. I deal with this. I've been working for a long time, and we all have those employees that are just there to get a check for free. They don't want to put in the work ethic. They're just kind of just a standing body. And we're not going to stay on it too long because we still got to discuss. We got one more topic that we can discuss. We don't want to keep our listeners too long. But Phil, if you could just kind of deal with or just kind of go over that for our listeners on how to handle people, our staff members that are not motivated.
Yes. Man. I think one idea comes to mind is, say you're on a basketball team, and in order for for a basketball team to be successful, we need good coaching, and that coach is going to see the entire team performing, and is going to be able to make correction, take people off the court, put people back in, put people in the right position so that they can be successful. But it also takes individual team members to buy into this goal, which is to win. And so when I think about motivation, it's like an internal thing. And I think, you can't really change, there's certain things you can change about a person, and there's certain things that will take time. But if a person is coachable and is showing up to the job, I think everyone can learn something about having the right motivation and wanting to be there. And so I'm gonna say it's a difficult task, and I think you have to coach people along the way. And I think it takes having, maybe at the beginning of a shift, and just taking 5 minutes and saying, hey, this is where we are. Here's our goal. This is what we need to do. And let's all get there. Because I think it's super dynamic. I think there's certain people, I think you have to address certain things as well. I can't just go up to an employee and say, hey, I need you to be motivated today. I think it's more deeper than that. I think people need they need to be a reason to be motivated. And so,
But there's always that the ones that are in the higher up position that aren't motivated. You know what I mean? Like they've gotten complacent at their position. So it's like, as a newcomer, you're eager, are you're excited or passionate about what you're doing. And so you go to this person for support, and they just lack the motivation that you have. They lack the inspiration. They're so dull. And I think I speak for a lot of the employees when I say that it's very frustrating, and it just makes you not even want to be passionate about it anymore. It's like, this person is in a higher position than me. They get paid more than me, and they don't care as much as I do. So why should I care? I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that could be very frustrating at all. So just in a quick summary, what is one thing that you could offer our listeners on how just to stay when they're dealing with coworkers or even people higher up that aren't passionate and motivated. What is one thing that they can do to just kind of keep that passion alive?
Well, when a higher up is not motivated, right? I mean, that's a like that's really hard because you're as a new employee coming into a job, you're going to read the work environment. You're going to read the work culture. And that's going to tell you a lot about where your motivation should be. So if I look up, it's my first day on the job, I'm working, and I see people are moving with a purpose, communicating, the leaders, the management are motivated. I'm going to want to rise to the expectation because that is just where the work culture is. And that is a great place. And you're going to notice like this is a great place to work, and this environment is asking me to get to that desired place. Now, in a situation where the management or the leadership is unmotivated, how do you stay motivated? Whew, I mean, that's a tough one. And a couple of questions are going to come to mind. One, is this the right? Should you even be in this work environment? Is this a sign to start looking elsewhere? Two, is this a bad season right now? Because I can tell you, working in education, my leadership they're amazing. From the principal on down, they're awesome. So, however, you know, and I can go into work and things might change and people might get moved around or administration might get moved around. And all of a sudden, now the leadership may display unmotivation or might not be where it needs to be. Right? So is that place the right fit for you? Then it might be time to consider going elsewhere. And then the second thing I would ask, is this just a temporary thing to where we have to be patient? And if we have that motivation, I would say lead by example, right? Lead by example. Don't, and if you look everywhere and no one's validating your motivation, lead by example. And my hope for you would be that management does improve, or that you get moved up because you're displaying that right motivation. So you have to ask yourself these questions. I don't think there's one solid answer, but definitely lead by example. And eventually you may very well be the person that gets moved up into management that can change and shift that work culture.
All right. Well, that was very well said, Phil. I think really it's, for me, it's just really just taking a step back and just understanding that you can't expect everybody to have the same thought process or the same motivation that you have, and sometimes we get so caught up in the work around us in the moment that it's like we want everybody to work as hard as us, but we're all built differently. And so sometimes you just got to say, you know what? You may have to remove yourself from the situation for a day. You may have to leave work early. You may have to, take a break, take a breather, but at least you can understand that about yourself and say, you know what, right now I don't need to be in this situation. This is not a healthy situation for me. And that is really a growing stepping stone because we want to keep going. We want to get that hourly pay. We want to please our boss. We want to look like a great coworker and all these things. But mentally, we're just not there. And that's okay. We're human. So I definitely want to encourage our listeners that if you have to remove yourself, that is okay. I also recommend you reaching out to your either HR department or your higher up and in the most professional way possible. Just saying, hey, these are some things that I saw that were potential fires, and I would like to know if there's any ways that we can execute them together, or if there's things that I can do better. Always be open for criticism because sometimes you have to be willing to take a look in the mirror. You may think that the people around you are the issue, but it might just be really you that's the issue. And it's just a growing stepping stone. We all go through it, but just have an open mind to it. So last but not least for our listeners, we don't want to keep everybody too late. We understand that it is the weekend. Our last topic is challenges of being a leader. Go ahead and kick it off. So this year, with my new employment, there's been some blessings that have been placed upon me. God is good. I've been placed in a leader position. I believe that we'll just say three. I believe that my three is not being able to be a part of the meetings. Number two, not seeing the motivation from my peers. And three, not receiving the support from my peers. I think that I can speak for a lot of our listeners. You know, we've all had that dream sold to us. Oh well, I'm gonna put you in this position for right now. If you do good at it, then in the next couple months, I'm gonna put you here. But it's like when we need help, when our back is to the wall, they just expect us to figure it out and make it happen. But we're all still learning and we're all still growing. So one thing I want to recommend all my listeners out there to do is that if any of you guys are new leaders like me and you have those moments to where you can get frustrated, I want to encourage all of you to not give up. Not give up. I know it feels like everything is kind of just not working, but just take a step back and look at how hard you had to work to get to where you're at, and just get back up and try it again. But try it again with a new mind frame. Try to be more of a solution than a problem, because you got to remember there's other people that are looking at you for leadership. So they might be looking up to you for support. And the last thing you want to do is be looked at as the problem guy or not strong enough. So just stay positive. And if you have to remove yourself for a day or two or an amount of time, be comfortable in that and just assess the situation as calmly and positive as possible. Phil, do you have anything?
I agree with everything you said. And I like that you mentioned being open to criticism, being willing to grow, because I like to I like to be at a place where I know that I haven't arrived and I have strengths, but I also have areas of growth. I have areas that I'm weak at, and I see those as opportunities for growth. And so I would encourage any leader to continue to grow, be open-minded. I like to see myself as a student as well. So even if I'm in a leadership position, there's always something that I can take, that I can learn from a higher up or someone that I'm superior to, that those that who are accountable to me. I want to be open-minded enough to be able to learn something from those people, because I want to normalize open-mindedness and the idea of being a lifelong learner, and getting the ego, checking it out the door, and not involving that in my leadership. And so I think good leadership is open-minded, is willing to hear criticism, so is willing to give constructive criticism, and is able to self-evaluate and say, how can I be a better leader? How can I serve my employees that I'm accountable to? Am I being the best leader that I can be to them? And I think when you do that, I think that the growth will take care of itself. Success will take care of itself in the long run. So,
Awesome. Well, to my listeners, I am so sorry about the delay. I know it's been a while since we brought you guys some product. We hope that this was a positive podcast for y'all, and I hope that it was helpful and useful. I want to congratulate everyone for just making it this far. I know 2020 through 2021 up to now has been a very long time, but we are here. We made it. I hope everybody is either getting vaccinated or still practicing social distancing. I hope everybody is staying safe out there. Keep believing, and just keep spreading love and positivity. Thank you guys once again, and I promise that we will have more podcasts for you in the future. And stay blessed. Phil, do you have anything?
thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we're looking forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.